God, please, no! 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 No!
Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the German Tier 8 heavy tank, the King Tiger. And if you haven't guessed by the title, as always, this is the games that lead up to and achieve the third mark of excellence for the tank. Now this is actually kind of topical because this tank is the tank that you get for level 100 in the season pass if you don't buy the season pass, that is. If you can just earn this tank completely for free. Now, what do I think of this tank? Well, I did a video on its brother the other week, and it's fairly similar to it in the fact that when it's top tier, it's really nice. It's quite a comfortable top tier tank. But when it's bottom tier, it really does suffer. Now, obviously, that does go for a lot of tier 8 heavies in the first place, right? But the Tiger 2 and its compatriots, like this and the Capture King Tiger, really do kind of suffer when they get bottom tier, because the armour means absolutely diddly squat when it's bottom tier. It has no armour at that point, but it does have quite a nice gun. Now, the difference between the King Tiger and the Capture King Tiger is this gets a 105, whereas the Capture King Tiger gets incredible DPM with an 88. This also gets better pen, but it gets slightly worse gun handling. Now, the difference between this and the actual Tiger 2 as well is that this gets, I believe, a slightly worse rate of fire, and it actually has worse accuracy. But the mobility is pretty similar, and the armour layout is pretty similar too. There's not much difference other than it's, instead of 0.31 accuracy, it's 0.34. But, I mean, not that that really matters all that much nowadays with the good crew skills, because you can just make this tank really accurate anyway. And talking of crew skills, my crew skills for this tank are pretty much a standard heavy tank build. And that is Born Leader, Rapid Loading, Sixth Sense, Trap Mechanic, Firefighting, Situational Awareness, Rapid Aim? Steady Aim? One of the two, Snapshot, and Run and Gun. Now, make the gun handling as good as possible because it's a heavy tank, you want to be on that gun performance. Also, making the view range as good as possible because it does have very good view range for a heavy tank, and that's 400 meters. And then, as well as like Track Mechanic to get your tracks back on, because when you get tracks, you can get them back up and move in quicker. Sixth Sense because you want to know you get spotted. Born Leader because you want to make everything 10% better about your tank always. And Rapid Loading again because then you want to make your DPM 10% better. So in this game on Pilsen, we are really top tier, and we are taking advantage of that by stomping the tier 7s. And we've got rid of the Tiger P. We took the mick out of him, and the poor guy was very, very stock in his Tiger P. And we put a shot or two into the T29. Now we're aiming at the guys at the back because they are looking at us, and I don't particularly want to drive out in front of a Yahtzee and a Draugen because they will hurt, they will laugh at my armour. Because that is one thing, that they have high pen, so they will just laugh at the armour of a Tiger 2. It's an unfortunate fact. Now, unfortunately, I take a tag in the side by the Yahtzee as I drive past. I pop a shot into the stockade as I'm moving along, and I want to get to the building up ahead. But I spot this Super P, and I'm like, you know what, let's track him. Hopefully someone will smack him as I move along. Hopefully we'll get some tracking, you know, because I think at this point I was at like 93%. So again, I'm trying to pump the DPM, pump the numbers up as much as possible to get as much movement as I can. So we tried to pop a shot at the Dragon on the move as well, didn't hit him. Obviously, nowadays with post 6.0, it's really quite easy sometimes to hit people on the move. But we do make a little bit of a mistake as we pull around that corner, because we go to try and pop a shot at the Freedom, and we get slapped in the side by the Draugen that we tried to shoot on the move. Now, I'll pop a shot at the Yahtzee and somehow miss, which is quite unusual for this gun. And then we miss that Draugen as well. And it was like, oh, right, I see how it is. Like, this gun is usually really reliable, so it's kind of surprising that happened. And by side scraping, we managed to bounce the Yahtzee as well, which is nice. And we're aiming for the slither of the Draugen. We finally popped that one in. And we are playing a risky game, because, I mean, the Tiger 2 can side scrape right, but the Yahtzee can hurt it quite badly. So I decide, you know what, we're moving up to this ridge line, and then we take a hit from the Super Pershing. He hits us, he pens us. That Udez hits us and pens us while he was sat on top of the ridge line. We didn't spot him until he fired. The Draugen then penned us in the side. He comes up to try and finish us off. Somehow we don't hit him. I don't know how. So we actually lost a lot of health for that aggressive push there. Was it worth it? Probably not, because we lost way too much health. We now have to play it extremely cautiously, whereas before we wouldn't have had to because we had a lot of it. But unfortunately, we did make that misplay and lose a lot of health. But now most of their team's in the other corner. There is this Bellerophon, so we try and get a tracking shot in. We do get it. He gets whacked as well as we track him, and we're going to try and pop another shot into him. Unfortunately, we just miss it, and he's going to keep backing up, and it makes me kind of regret firing, but we are going to get the shot into him, and we do finish him off. So now we're going to move on to the guys in the corner at K0, and hopefully we can get some more damage off. But my team is closing in on these guys, and there is a little protective dip that they can hide in from this side, so the likelihood of me trying to get a shot into this Yahtzee and the other TD, the SU-101, is quite unlikely. But the SU-101 is in the open. He is sort of driving out. We might, well, we're trying to get a shot into him, but we're actually too low, so we can't quite reach him. All we're going to do now is sadly watch as he gets demolished by my team. And there's the little protective lip I was on about that the Yahtzee is hidden from. We can't quite see him, and it's like, oh, we might get it. No, we don't. And unfortunately, we don't get any more damage in that game. But we did finish that game with a very nice total for the King Tiger. And what happened is we stomped when we were good top tier. So we finished that game with 3 kills, nearly 2k damage, 1325 assistance, ace tanker, Spartan, Confederate, high caliber, steel wall. And what did that put us on? 93.54. I might have been in 92s then. But then I had a couple of more games. So that was, yeah, 2.3 odd base XP. So yeah, I had a couple more games. And I think it was like 2 games. I had 2 games where I did enough to just put it up above 94%. And then with the wonderful map rotation we have, we're back on Pilsen again. In a fairly similar situation, in the fact that we're top tier, we've got this spawn. It's these spawn types, because Pilsen has the random spawns that aren't the best in the universe for alternate spawns. And we're going to basically do exactly the same as we did in the last replay. If it worked last time, you may as well try it again. It's only when it's stupid, and you know it's stupid, but it somehow worked, that you don't really try something again. And by that I mean, you just try something stupid for the hell of it, and it somehow comes off. It's always best that if you try it once, and you succeed, you know, you should probably try it again. But if you know that it was incredibly risky, it's always not the best. So we're taking up this position here anyway, and we're not top tier, it's tier 9. There's that T54E1 has told me that. And we are basically taking up the exact same position. And this position is really good if you can keep yourself down low, because you can fight anyone that comes around that corner. There's always someone like that T54E1, like I think it was a Tiger P originally in the last game, that try and make that cross, and you can always try and catch them out. So I am being very wary of that Tiger P. And look what's in front of us again. There's another VK4502A. It's almost like deja vu, if I'm totally honest. But he's gone. Now there's the 50 TP. And like I say, I am being kind of wary, because that T54E1 is on the left, and he will take most of our health very, very quickly. And you've got to be wary of that, because obviously he is an autoloader, he's going to hurt. And anyone that takes that position is kind of sheltered from everyone else. So we don't want to be taking hits from him. I'm pretty confident now that he's fired his whole clip. Like I say, you can see I'm constantly checking to make sure that he hasn't pulled out to see if I can get a shot. But I'm trying to get tracking shots and penning shots into this ball sig, because I am above 94% at this point. I think I'm at 94.5. So I am trying to, again, maximise my damage. I'm always thinking about that next shot, which whenever anyone asks for advice and how to 3-mark things, it's literally just thinking about where your next tick of damage is going to come from, where your next bit of assistance is going to come from. You've just got to be constantly thinking, where am I going to get the next shot? Where am I going to get the next shot? And assessing whether you can do something to get the shot. So right now, I'm thinking of this defender, and I want to track it, because look how many people are coming round. So we aim for the tracks, and I actually penned it, but didn't track it. So sadly, we're not getting any assistance from it. And there we go, we finally track it, we pen it again, and I'm just hoping it gets destroyed. And there we go, we racked up a bit more tracking. And now they are in our base. They're in our base. The artillery's there spotted though, so I'm like, oh, you know what, I'll pop an auto-aim shot at it, see if we can hit it. Because you always got to shoot the piggy, but unfortunately we don't hit it. Now the 416 is my next damage, and there's a heavy tank in front as well, and he's also another one that I could try and shoot and pen, so that's what we're doing. Unfortunately, we ricochet off the 53 TP's lower plate, which a 53 TP is one that you don't really want to be shooting the lower plate, especially when you've got 220 odd pen. You want to be shooting the upper plate, because you're actually more likely to shoot the upper part of the upper plate than you are the lower plate. Plates. So, we're coming round on him, and we try and pop a shot at the 53 TP to rush a shot in, but just obviously as we do it, the Nomad comes in, and then again, the Nomad blocks the next shot on him, which I was slightly frustrated. It was so obvious it was going to happen. I don't even know why I bothered taking the shot, but that's the way. Then we snap that shot in, get a tracking shot on the Huntsman, but unfortunately, just as we shot him, someone else tracked him. And then just as we fire at that Huntsman, he blows up. And I'm thinking, at this point, I was thinking I was on for the third mark. I think I was at, I have a feeling I was at 94.3. And I'm thinking, oh, this game isn't like 0.7% increase. We are at 4.3k combined, right? But the King Tiger third mark for me was do 3k, go up like by 0.3, 0.4, probably do 3.5k, and you're going up just less than 0.5%. And that's just how the mark was for me. It didn't really budge that much, even for like really good games, and I never felt it increase like good amounts for what would be considered a very, very good game for a tier 8. Which this is on par for a very, very nice game for a tier 8, 4.5k combined, as in terms of MOE damage numbers. But it didn't seem to move it all that much, so I'm sat here ruining those shots on those Huntsmen basically, and the 53 TP one with the Nomad, because I'm sat here going, oh, typical, like they were the shots I needed. But this 7-1 is full health, and I'm getting here ahead of the charge, and I'm waiting for him, and I'm like, please track, and we pen. The shot goes high, and we actually pen him, which is sod's law. But it puts us on 4.5k combined in total, and I'm thinking, oh, is that going to be enough? I don't really know, but thankfully enough, 4.5k combined was enough for the third mark of excellence. We got a Confederate first class and the third mark of excellence for the King Tiger, and it actually moved us up a decent amount. So yeah, anyway, we finished that game with the third mark of excellence in the King Tiger, a tank that is pretty nice. And for the most part, it's very good top tier, but when it gets bottom tier, it's not so good. +1, -1 really helps this tank, like all Tiger tanks. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.